just before class in some situation. But I did put up a new syllabus. I have copies here if you haven't gotten any. I had to do some changes because of the book, but I made some copies for you just in case it's there.
Thank you much.
So, real quick, I just wanted to, I have 2 degrees from Wayland. I started here in 2009, so I also I get up early in the morning to go to work, just like everybody here. So it's very rare, I'm gonna tell you right now, very rare that we pass 7:30 in the class.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay? Because I cannot see you, like releasing you to take dinner, give a half an hour, 40-minute break, and then you gotta come back, and you're incoherent. You know, I've been sitting in these things, all right? So a lot of the things that we do here is things. So I'm gonna jump, and I'm gonna go into the PowerPoint now. If you go to the content section of the Blackboard, on week number 1, if you open it up, I have the PowerPoint there if you want to follow anything, but I'm going to put it up here, and I'm going to see if you guys can see it. Can you guys see it over there? The other crew?
Got it, Dr. Mo, I got it.
Okay, everybody can see that? I did the right share screen?
Mm-hmm.
Then, call the Vatican, because man, that's something that's different. All right, so I'm just going to jump into it, and we're going to play around, but,
I don't see it, but I got the slides open.
Oh, wait, let me check. Let me make sure that, let me check, brother.
Man, trying to hang in there with this COVID thing.
Just tell me what slide you're on.
It's actually been a blessing.
No, I want to make sure.
There you go.
Yeah, because they
Are we good?
graduate
All right,
classes.
all right.
Now we got it.
All right, so welcome everybody. This is class 5345. It's recruiting and selection. Just gotta let you know we are in the COVID, okay? So we got some collaborating and we gotta keep the mask on, but I gotta keep mine on, I'm saying, but if you're more than 6 feet, and you wanna eat something, please, I'm not gonna do that. So I approach the classes different. Okay, I'm into I can't teach you anything, right? Just like Socrates, right? I'm going to tell you, I cannot teach you anything. All I'm going to make you do is think, okay? Because if you look at it, I'm going to get rid of my little bar over here, right? Education is not about learning facts, but training of the mind to think. So there's Socrates and Einstein, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because as non-traditional students, right? You're asking yourself, okay, there's 2 things and 2 reasons why I'm here, right? What's in it for me? And how can I apply this to something that I do now, right? We're not 17 years old, right? So I'm not going to be like you're an empty glass and I'm pouring information into you, right? That is not why we're here. I want to hear the thing is to make you think, right? It's a question to you, okay? So real quick, like I said before, it's very rare that we don't pass 7:30. It's very rare, right? Unless something's happened there, because I'm going to lose you. Okay? Everybody here has a job. Everybody has things they have to do, and I cannot see us spending more than 2 hours here. And then, and that's why we have some discussion boards, and we're going to go over the syllabus a little later when we do this. But this is the book that we're using. Right? Does everybody have access to the book?
Yes.
Are we dressed at the close interval? All right, we're good.
Do you think that the online book or the hardback is better?
For me, it's not like personally.
Yeah.
I'm an old guy. I'm a baby boomer, so I like books.
That's my
Right? I like books. I like touching them. I like feeling them. Right? And the kind of thing. So, real quick, we're gonna go over some house rules. Like I said, this is a education place, right? It's expect everybody just to relax, to trust each other, safety zone, right? Chapman House rules, opinions, but, just respect each other, right? We graduate school, right? So I expect a nice amount of positive conflict, right? That is something that we always look at. So I was put to here because my undergraduate students, sometimes we just gotta let them go in there and come out. So the journey's beginning, and we're all different people, right? You see a white color, right? That's a combination of a spectrum, right? So as recruiters, and I'm gonna say this with recruiting, right? We gotta know that, right? We gotta know that people are made up of different colors and they have different personalities. And the book throws a lot of, you're gonna notice, I don't know if you had a chance to just go over the table of contents, but has a lot of models and theories and stuff like that. And sometimes theory and what happens in the street are two different things, right? But it's a great guide, right? So all of you are graduate students, right? You all made it, right? You all have skill sets. Do you know that only 7% of the adult population in the U.S. has a master's, right? So it's a good statistic. You're here, right? You did not get a letter from Hogwarts saying, welcome to Wayland and come over here and let's go, right? It didn't happen, right? There's a process, right? So it's a recruiting process, right? So you look at it, right? You're contemplating, should I go to college, not go to college? And then you go to Wayland Baptist, but you had to do an application. They evaluated you. Sometimes they interviewed you before you became a student, right? All of you have, and I'm going to take an opportunity a little later on so you can give a little spiel about yourself. All of you have talents. All of you have great experience, and you have a big old bucket of knowledge to share, right? Because I'm not the one, I ain't talking for 2 hours, okay? It's not gonna happen, right? So what we're gonna try to do here is validate our credentials, right? What we're gonna look at is what are we gonna do? We're gonna validate them. We're gonna look at things because sometimes I may say something and you'll go like, man, that happened to me yesterday. Or this happened on the other day, or that's just like this person. All right, and that kind of stuff. And that's what we want you to do. We want you to connect the dots and look at stuff. So with that said, I'm going to take a little chance here, just quick introduction. I'd like to know a little bit about yourself. I know that you're all graduate students, but how many classes you have taken? How many you got left? Is this your last class or something like that? So with our online crew, I'm going to start with the classroom, if that's okay with you. And we'll start with Julius in the back.
Sure, no problem. Good evening, everybody, gentlemen.
Good evening.
There's any ladies here, but class, my name is Julius Nofo. A little bit about myself. I did retired Marine, retired in 2016. Started Wayland, started classes in August 1st of 2016. Been here ever since. I've got 4 more classes. This being one of the 4 to receive my bachelor, my master's in Arts of Management, Organizational Leadership.
Oh, that was me.
Organizational Management.
Okay.
So this class was one of the classes that it wasn't a choice. my counselor was like, hey, you got this class, we're not offering it, but you can sub it with this. I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. But what was interesting about it is that I did recruiting in the Marine Corps for 3 years.
Okay.
I recruited in American Samoa.
Oh, good.
So
I recruited in Puerto Rico.
So a lot of we had a passing we had a 12% passing rate on the ASVAB.
I know where you're coming from.
Yeah, exactly. So majority of the time we had to produce our own product. So over there in American Samoa, a bunch of stuff. But anyways, so this was pretty interesting when we talked about recruiting and selection, and so yeah, that's a little bit about myself. Good to be here. Nice to meet each and every one of you, and looking forward to this semester.
All right, Antoine, right there.
Good evening, fellas. Gentlemen, we got any ladies in the class? Gentlemen, my name is Antione Meadows. I did 20 years in the military. I retired in 2017.
What branch am I in?
E7.
No, what branch?
Oh, Navy.
Navy. Okay. Yeah, chief.
So I decided to take a job here as a IT and network engineer in Iowa. I got two kids, 2 grandkids. I had a class before with Julius, so we are a family.
So we all family,
We all
man.
family.
We all family, man.
I like whaling. I guess I had 16 classes to do my masters, and I'm four. This is my 13th and 14th class.
Oh, okay. You can taste it.
So
You can
I'm-
taste the
Yeah,
regalia.
I'm doing my capstone now, and this is my my second class for my after my capstone, and then 2 more classes. We got the same amount of classes then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's it.
one was missing. I'm done.
All right.
Yeah, that's about. I'm from Baltimore.
Okay.
From
So
Baltimore.
you know real fame.
So I mean, this recruiting class it is a good topic for me. I like the whole bringing different people together from different places in the world and understand how they think
Yeah.
and why they think what
Exactly.
they think. So
And that's a good concept right there.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, when I know in the military and it's like somebody, they come up with these regulations and you're like, who the heck wrote this? They ever ask you kind of thing.
Exactly,
And
yep.
that's kind of the stuff that we're looking at. Well, I appreciate it. Welcome.
thank.
All right, we'll start with Bruce. What's that? Gregory.
Hey, hi, everybody. I know some of you, I think. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you
Sir.
beautifully, brother.
Bruce, how you doing, Bruce?
Okay, fine, 'cause sorry about the audio problems. I'll figure them out tomorrow.
Don't worry about it.
I got my headset on and I'm listening from an external speaker.
Okay.
Anyway, 27 years in the Air Force.
All right.
Retired in 2009, immediately picked up as a civil servant in the Navy GS-13, working at Indo-PACOM at headquarters for the combatant commander. I have 801 days left until my second retirement.
Oh.
Not that you counted.
Here's counting. But that's 2 years, just over 2 years away.
Okay.
2 years and a couple months.
Yeah, 2 years and a wake up.
I got a match.
Hey.
I'll be candid with you all and Dr. Mo. With only 800 days left, I really have no need for another degree. I already have a master's degree in computer information systems. I'm a certified information systems security professional. I'm a project manager, PMP. I got all kinds of letters after my name.
What are you doing this for?
We lost you. Greg?
Bruce.
I'm here.
Oh, was that it?
You're coming in and out.
So, I'm not gonna graduate. I got 1 year left. And I am, just bouncing around from class to class, degree, things, to use up my full 3 years.
Okay. That's,
Oh, okay,
yeah, all right, that's
okay,
good, brother, that's
okay,
good. I like it. So where do you work at PACOM?
I'm with the J6.
Okay.
Mm.
I'm part of PACOM myself. I'll talk later.
Where are you at?
I'm on Fort Island though, but I used to work in the J3.
Are you with the PwC?
No, I'm with CFE, the disaster management.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. All right. We're family already.
Exactly.
All right. Who next? We go with Jason. Go ahead, brother.
All right, everybody. Hey, how's it, everybody?
How's it, brother?
Hey,
Good.
what's the guy before? Hey,
Oh, you're coming in broken in, Jason.
can you hear me?
Now I did. You came in a little bit broken in. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Who was before, Greg?
That was Antoine.
Catch his name.
Antoine.
Hey, next time I finally have a fellow chief in these classes.
I like it because we're on the list. I like that. I don't know about the other one.
Hey, so look, retired from the Navy. I actually did 3 years Army, and then I got smart. Retired. After 21 years of Navy, I was retired as chief. I had a chance to see her chief, but I bounced was talking about options. I'm like, yo, they're trying to send me back to the ship. I'm like, I'm good right now.
Yeah, put a fork in it.
Hey.
Yeah. We start thinking about retirement, it's time to retire. This is my last semester
Oh, okay.
for my first master's.
Wow.
Yeah,
for first masters?
I don't know what's on my brain, but I'm actually thinking about going into the doctor.
Okay, do it.
And I'm like, dude, do I really want to get on this road? But I'm balancing that out before I actually pursue that doctor.
Okay.
But we shall see. I will take a little break after this semester and weigh my options after that. But from Pittsburgh originally, go Steelers, obviously.
Obviously.
Glad to be in class, you guys. It's a good class.
All right, thanks, brother. And then, last but not least, Ramon.
Hey, evening, everyone. Mic 1, mic 2, check.
Check. Lima Charlie, hold on, mic, brother.
Evening, Dr. Morrow, Julius, Antoine, Gregory, Jason. Pleased to be in class with everyone tonight in employment, recruitment, and retention 5345. This is basically leading up to my one of two last classes this fall, term number 2. And I believe I'll be crossing that finish line for my master's degree in human resources management.
Great. So
Talking about.
really good. All right.
Right on, bro.
All right. So welcome everybody. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I'm gonna stand. I'm way past you guys over there. So, I'm gonna be over here because I'm originally from New York, the Bronx.
Okay.
But by way of Puerto Rico, so I'm an Atlantic Islander. I did 24 years in the military, and I did 8 years in the Marine Corps. Then I got out, and then I missed it, and I did 16 years in the Army. But National Guard, I was active duty with the Guard. And I did 10 years of that career I did in recruiting.
Wow.
So I did everything from MEPS guidance counselor to marketing to the first sergeant. And I was in the field, and I did what they call component transition, the interstate transition, because the Guard, you have that. But I got 4 children, I got 4 grandchildren, and
You seasoned.
I work at PACOM, and I work in disaster management, humanitarian assistance. For PACOM, I'm the head of the Applied Research Information Sharing Branch, and we do a lot of research and papers and stuff with the United Nations, and usually I travel, but we're travel-less now with COVID. But I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to have a great bunch of people here. I think we have a great mix. I think we talk the same language. And what we're trying to do here is, the next slide here, is, if you notice, knowledge is like little dots, right? But experience is the ability to know how to connect them, right? And that's what we want to do. So when you leave this class, hopefully, and remember, this is an 8-week class. So it goes fast, right? So what I want to do is, I don't want you to just leave the class and say, okay, here's a check mark. I'm done with this class. I'm one class closer to graduation, right? So do you guys know what this is right here?
Etch-a-sketch. Old school.
Etch-a-sketch, right? Old school. So what I don't want you to do is learn, and then when you leave the door, you bring your head down, you go like and shake it, and erase everything there. But nobody here is a millennial. I was going to say the example we have is that's equivalent to that, right? To control, alt, delete. Okay, I don't want you to do that. So there's a lot of interaction. I like a lot of like talking, experiences going back and forth. So I'm going to tell you a little bit of like what my thought pattern is and why I do what I do, right? So this slide right here is called the cone of learning. And if you look at it, they say after 2 weeks, we tend to remember, right? And then we look at the pyramid, right? We tend to remember only 10% of what we read, right? 20% of what we hear, and then you guys can read, right? But you remember or you retain 90% of what we say and what we do.
Yep.
90%. Doing a presentation, simulating a real experience, doing the real thing. And that's the reason why I have the discussion board, right? because I want you to interject and do these things, right? So we have, when I'm gonna go over the syllabus here soon, is we have something about, we had 6 people before, right? And one of them dropped out. So I had it all spaced out evenly, so we just gotta adjust a little bit, but on an average, on each week, we're looking at 2 chapters to read, right? So I want somebody to take the lead of that chapter, and they're gonna do a little presentation, right? I'm not talking about regurgitating what it is, right? With graduate students, so sometimes when I did my doctorate, I would have to read 500 pages a week or something, right? Or 300 pages. You have to learn how to read all over again when you're in graduate school. You gotta learn how to pick what you think is important and why you think is important. So that's what we're looking at. A little PowerPoint presentation, and you're gonna give it to the rest of the class, right? Of what you think it is, and from that is we bring out the themes, and that's how we interject. But a lot of times, like I said previously, the book is very technical, right? It shows you all these models and stuff. So we want to try to bring real life scenarios, right? And you were a recruiter, Julius.
Yes, sir.
I was a recruiter, and then everybody here has some experience of recruiting or selecting that probably they don't know it's part of it, right? When you pick somebody for a job, you're getting a new recruit coming into your command, you got a new employee, right? You're selecting and you're kind of recruiting of what we're doing. We're reading resumes, we're doing things. So everybody has some human resource experience, especially with 20-something plus years of experience in the military. And I think all of us were in the military at some point. So if you take your syllabus out, okay, yeah, I'm sorry, brother, it's been a long day. We're gonna go over the syllabus real quick, and I wanna make sure that everybody is crystal clear. Like we said, I want everybody to be dressed at the close interval. Not the regular interval, the close interval, right? I want everybody to be understanding. Now, real fast, on the first page, you got my info. A couple of you guys reached out to me on the phone. That's fine, text me, right? But just tell me, just make sure you go like, hey, this is Antoine, okay? That way, because I don't have you in my text, so I don't know who it is, and I'm like, okay, who's calling me or whatever, right? But that's the best way to get me.
Okay.
And the email is there, but you know sometimes, and Gregory knows that sometimes Paycom is not very forgiving in letting other emails come in. I always get some kind of firewall or something like that kind of blocks it. But my office hours are going to be, I'm always here about at least by 3 o'clock on Monday. So if you want to ask me something, I'm here. After class, I'm cool. Want to talk afterwards, I don't care. You know, but whatever it is, let me know. I know life has a way of interfering things, right? I do know that, right? We're all in the military. Not everything's going to be smooth. Something's going to happen, something from work. Just let me know, right? Just let me know ahead of time. Hey, this happened. What can I do with it, right? With 8 weeks, it goes fast. So we want to go into that kind of thing. Everybody has the books. You guys can read the attendance. But always talk to me, right, on that thing. I did that. We have a research paper that's due, right? It's only 8 to 10 pages. I don't say 8, and I don't say 10, because I know people write down 9.5, and all of a sudden your paper looks like an eye chart because the font's this big, you know, the margins are humongous, right? So I give always the option of 8 to 10 pages, right? But that's a body. Don't give me 8 to 10 pages and 6 pages is references, right? A body, right? Okay. So by next week, I would like to have an idea of what you're going to think about writing your paper, right? But it has to be something with recruiting and retention. I wrote a paper one time on military recruiting, right? And some of the stuff we had at the time when they had a high suicide rate, especially the Army had a very high suicide rate in recruiting command.
Oh, dang.
And one of the things that's a
In
stressful
recruiting?
job. Oh, yeah.
They didn't get in yet.
Yeah.
That's bad.
You know, and that kind of thing. So, class participation, you show up like we are here, that's good, right? We talk, we chat, it's good. The weekly articles, that's something that we like to do. Now, that's something that each week, one of you students, you guys could talk it over to see which one is first, is going to, I have a topic, so if we jump real quick to the actual, the schedule, right? Now you have the first one, right? The first week, we're gonna talk about the course, review the syllabus, right? For next week, I want you to read chapters 1 and 2, right? So one of you is going to present chapters 1 and 2 to the rest of the class. And I'm talking about people, this is not a humongous dialogue, okay? Maybe 10, 15 minutes of what you think was the key points.
Okay.
All right? And then what I want you to do in the discussion board is, I want you to find, whoever it is, an article that, a peer-reviewed article. Don't give me no Wikipedia stuff, right?
Right.
Something that you guys have to wait in the library. And you get something on staffing.
Okay.
Anything can be staffing models, problems with staffing, something like that. And I want you're gonna be the leader of that particular thing. You're gonna get the article and you're gonna upload it on the discussion board. And then you're gonna write, hey, this is my article, and then you can ask a question. What do you think, right? So it's called 2 stars and a 1. And then other people in the class are gonna respond to you, right? And you gotta do at least 3 people. So if I look at it, I want everybody to at least answer 3 people. I'm gonna see 3 responses. Mostly in graduate school, they're gonna have 5, 6, 7 responses, right? Because people ask questions back and forth. All right? So I want you to do it and I'll go with it in a second, but then, if you look at the next week, somebody else is gonna have chapters 3 and 4, and the article is gonna be about human resource planning, right? And so forth and so on. There is no class the week of the 23rd to the 27th, that is Thanksgiving. You do not do anything except eat in that week, right? I can't assign you anything. All right? You guys got that online? You guys hear me good?
Gotcha.
Oh, okay, I just wanna make sure you guys are there. Give me a breath every now and then like you're breathing. All right? And then, the research paper is due in the last week, right? The last part they give it, but you're gonna have a little research presentation, right? I want everybody to know, no more than 10, 15 minutes, explain what it was that you wrote your paper on and some of the things you looked at. That way we learn from each other, right? So usually that'd be the last class right there. We'll have some pizza or something just to make us, eat and do something. But that's what we're looking at. We want everybody to see, because then I only have the advantage of reading your paper. But maybe it's something that might be interesting to Gregory or something interesting to Jason or something, right?
Right.
Something that we're looking at.
Right.
So what we're looking at is, by the end of the class today, I'm gonna ask, a lot of people that I've had previously would say, hey, let me get the chapters and let me do the discussion, I get it over with, to have it. Some people split. Well, I wanna do this time and this on the other time, right? That's up to you guys to discuss. We had 6 people, so somebody has to do it twice. You're not gonna get in, I ain't gonna love you anymore or love you any less. Yeah, so, that's something, so if you look at I wanted the page, I should have numbered these pages, I'm sorry. But, if you look at there's a section there that talks about Blackboard article discussion and interactions. It says additional information is at the base of the thing.
Okay.
You guys see that? If you look at it, people always think, what the heck is it? I gotta stay back here, I'm sorry. What is these 2 stars and wonder, right? It's just the thing that I just brought up. If you look at it, 2 stars is provide positive comments to 2 features of the articles that you appreciate, right? And then a wonder is a question or a recommendation or something, like, hey, I love the way this article was blah, blah, blah. It had a good point, but man, I wonder if this is the same in Detroit, where there's a different diversity of individuals, or blah, blah, blah. That's that kind of stuff. So wonder, right? I always teach people, right? I always think as graduate students, always look at the methodology. Look at the data, right? Because if I come up to you and say 4 out of 5 dentists like Colgate, right? Is that 4 out of 5 people? Is that 80 out of 100? Is it 800 out of 1,000? I don't know, right? So always question the group. Always question the data. Where did they get this, right? Oh, they say that that Hawaii is the best place in the world and it's so cool or whatever, right? According to who? Who are the people they asked? What was the source, right?
Right.
So I want you to remember, the purpose of this class is to make you think. I don't want you to memorize anything, right? Things like you say, man, I need a staffing model. Well, look at the book. Keep the book and look at the book. But there's a lot of things that I want to make you look at and I want to make you think, right? One of the things is like that. So I would like, we have the class on Monday, right? So I would like to have that article put up no later than Wednesday, right? Because we want people to try to, hurry up and start getting in there and start getting their answers thing, right? So when I look at it, there's a discussion board. You'll see it in the discussion board area, and we'll talk about who's going to have it first, right? So at least 3, right? I know it's going to be more. You guys are smart. I know you guys interject, and I might, I used to ask no more than like 100 words. Okay, I had a student, believe it or not, that one time responded to somebody 1,200 words. Right? I was looking at it, nobody read it. I was like, oh my God, girl. This is to invoke thought.
Yeah.
That's a great statement. What do you think? And we have some good 1,200 words. That's the research paper. And like I said before, all right, those are the things, man. Class participation, obviously, right? But the discussion board is a big thing, and let's say for some reason, somebody says, hey, I can't make it to class, I'm sorry, something happened, blah, blah, blah. Then I'm going to say the way you make up the 50 points here is instead of minimum of 3, I want 6 responses, right? And that's how we do the participation. Okay? So don't think just because you missed a class, oh my God, I lost all these points or whatever. No. That's why we got a hybrid, right? Because normally, if this was a normal, regular class kind of thing, everybody be going TDY or something like that. It just happens, right? I got to go training. I got to do this. I got to get rehazmat certified. I got to do this. Whatever, right? It just happens. So how this whole? Is there any questions on the syllabus, Antoine?
So.
Say it loud so people can hear you, just in case.
So, by Wednesday of every week, everybody needs to present an article? Or...
No. Just one person is going to be the leader of the article.
Okay.
So let's say, for example, let's say you were chosen by thousands of contestants, right? And Antoine got the first one. Right? So by Wednesday, that gives you tomorrow to go, hey, I got to look at the peer-reviewed journal library of Wayland and get a good peer-reviewed article on staffing.
Okay.
Whatever you wish, right? Because what we're doing is, this is augmenting the book is very theoretical, but articles sometimes bring real-life stuff down, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we're looking at, right? And then all the other 4 students are going like, Antoine, hurry up and post that because I want to do this because this weekend there's a good football game happening and I don't want to do it during football. Right? So then that's when the exchange, right? So I would like to have everybody done at least by Sunday so I can get time to read them. And I'll read them along the way. But I usually get good themes and thematic and things what people saw. And then we can discuss that in class and say, hey, this is something, did you have this problem? We're all leaders in some capacity, right?
Okay.
So that's what we're looking at. All right? So, is that cool? Yeah, Julius. Julius got a question now.
So, when Antoine posted on Wednesday, then Antoine has to present it on Monday, the following Monday.
No, not that. Just the chapters.
Okay, right.
Yeah, just the chapters.
Okay.
Yeah, just the chapters.
Okay, so
what happened is, Antoine, if they ask you questions, you're gonna have a lot of responses because you got a lot of people.
Got it.
Right? Yeah, they gotta be,
Okay.
and make it fruitful. I don't want to say, yes, I agree. This is graduate school, right?
Right.
We want some thought, and I'm not telling you 1,200 words like your lady did, but I don't want like a sentence neither.
Got it.
Okay.
So for the person, the person that week, they're posting an article by Wednesday
Yeah.
and presenting the chapter on
If you
Monday.
wish, yeah, some people just take, hey, let me just do it all.
Oh,
And sometimes it's good because the chapters interject with the theme.
With the article, right?
Yeah, so we can do it that way, yeah. So you're not gonna talk about the article, right? Because we've already discussed it, but I'm gonna pull themes out of it.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna discuss it with you in class,
Okay.
right? But what you're gonna do is the chapters, right? But only the key elements, okay? Don't come in there and regurgitate it because we all can read.
Right.
But there's something like, this really intrigued me. I like this thing here, the Article 1 talked about this, and I remember one of that guy. That's the greatest thing with graduate students and the people, even for graduate students, we're non-traditional students. We're not your normal age for graduate students usually, right?
right.
Your experience is great. We want to hear it
Right.
because it's things like because we can help each other with with things like, hey, this happened to me. Try this, or this happened before. I did this and write this. This kind of stuff. So it's pretty simple once you get the hang of it. Because what happens is, on Wednesday, you're the man. That's your baby, right? You're the one because I need you to retain 90% of everything that's said in here because you're doing it, right? And you're gonna remember that, and you're gonna pick out little things from the other students, right? That is your baby. I am there, I read it and do stuff like that and stuff like that. We do thematic thinking and everything else, and great job, and you'll see the grades and everything else. But it's your baby. Whoever has it, that's your baby. You're responsible for the article, and you can send an email and say, hey, I just posted it.
So is everybody writing in the discussion board about the chapter?
No, only you.
Yeah.
No chapter.
Yeah, just,
The discussion board is only about the article.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The chapter, you're gonna make a little PowerPoint, and I don't care if it's one PowerPoint, and you say, these are the key elements that I saw, and we discuss them in class.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Hey, Can
That's-
I ask a question also, please?
Yeah, you Ramon?
No, this is
Then
Greg.
everybody's responsible.
Oh, Greg, go ahead, brother.
And then
Wait
on
up.
Monday.
Go ahead.
Greg, it's so far. It helps me, if I paraphrase a little bit, to help me.
Absolutely. I love it. Go ahead.
So, once the leader for that week posts the article, then everybody else goes in and does 2 stars and a wonder.
Yeah, but
on
at
that
least
article.
the 3 different students. Yeah, at least the 3 different students.
And then, with only 5 in the class.
Yeah, but we can get through everybody.
Do we do that in a Word document? or
No,
do we post that
you post it all in, discuss it on the thread, on the discussion board thread.
Right,
Yeah.
straight into the thread, no Word document.
No
attached.
Word documents or nothing. Sometimes, the thread is a little antsy, and sometimes you cannot upload the article.
Yeah.
So in that case, then you could just do an attachment, it's, in the content thing or anything, and
Okay.
just say, hey, you got it. Sometimes, you're in the J6, you know how technology sometimes,
Yeah.
brings our memory back, right?
Yep,
All right. So are we dress at the close interval?
Yeah.
I
Yes.
think I got it.
All right,
There might
Jason.
be some hiccups next week, but by week 2, we'll have it all.
Yeah,
sorted
and let
out.
me tell you something, brother, and you have a question, ask me. All right, where is it? All right, Maui and Jason, are we cool?
Yes, one more time, I'll echo a little more. So, discussion board number 1, topic will be staffing.
Yes.
Somebody between the 5 of us is gonna come up with a scholarly article on staffing.
Right.
We're all gonna circle around that article and write in the, discussion board thread about that article on staffing.
That's correct. That's correct.
But on Monday you got.
Hey, guys,
But on
I
Monday you gotta do
something
the.
lined up if you want me to go first.
Okay, hey, Gregory, you're number 1.
Okay, thanks, Greg.
All right,
appreciate
and
it.
I'm gonna write it down.
But on
How about
Monday.
the, Greg, do you wanna do both or just
Yeah,
one?
Greg, do both. Do chapters 1 and 2 and the article.
Thanks, Greg.
I appreciate
You
it.
got that, Greg?
Now, I got that, so I'll post an article. In fact, I'll do that tomorrow morning because I already got the article downloaded.
Okay.
It's about the nursing shortage.
Oh, great.
Nice.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. All right, but Gregory, you're gonna be doing chapters 1 and 2 as well, okay?
Copy that. I'll put it together a very short PowerPoint.
Yeah, yeah.
Present next week.
All right,
Thanks,
brother.
Greg.
All right, so we are close. So we'll go a little later with the. But you just guys think about it, right? I'm not going to push you right now, but
Okay.
by the end of the class. But let me just continue with the class, and those are the assignments we're looking at, right?
Yep.
And then by next week, please tell me what you're looking at to do the report, because 8 weeks comes quick.
Yeah.
The greatest thing about this particular section is that Thanksgiving weekend is there, right? So you can take advantage. That's why I want you to take advantage. I'm not telling you to take the whole week, whatever, but but at least you got an opportunity
To catch up.
to do that. Okay, let me jump this back on. All right, so let's jump in real quick. So sometimes when we're looking at the recruiting, we're looking at selection, or we're looking at an organization, right? We always think it's something like this, right? Everything is cool. Oh, I got the world in my hand. Everything is fantastic. But in reality, it's kind of like that, right?
Right.
There's always all kind of, there's all these things that come in, right? All these, as we used to say in the Marine Corps, all these sniper shots come out of nowhere, right? That get you. And sometimes you're going like, okay, but I'm educated, right? I got a team. We got all this education. I know I do presentation. I graduated from Wayland. I got all this coffee to keep me awake, right? But there's always something wrong, right? There's always something wrong. And Master Yoda is going to say, why, right? Why? Okay? So before I go into the recruiting, I got to set the atmosphere a little bit, because none of us go into a beautiful, pristine, lovely organization, right?
Right.
We all sit here and say sometimes, how the heck did that guy get promoted? Or how the heck is this guy my boss? Or this person, or whatever, right? And a lot of times in a lot of organizations, right? This is what we're looking at, right? Sometimes unclear direction, strategy, values, right? Senior leadership, no teamwork.
Yep.
There's a lot of top down, you do what you're told. A lot of I don't care, right? Poor organizational design, right? Inadequate leadership, time retention, or employees fear, right? There's a lot of times employees fear, right? And sometimes they're going to tell you, we're going to do a job, or I want you to do this task. And a lot of times you'll end up with all these signs, right? Stop, wrong way, do this, oh my gosh, who told you to do that? Blah, blah, blah. Because there's a lot of people out there, right, that come up with these beautiful, great ideas, right? But, it's like in the military, right? They came up with this beautiful idea. Oh, we're going to attack that hill. And this is the way we're going to do it. I got this plan already, right? Nobody told that, right? The J1 is going to say, how many people are going to use it? Right? The motor pools, how are we going to get them over? Who's going to pay for this? Right? How are you going to, you said you're going to get helicopter support? Who's paying for the fuel? Nobody told me. Do we need extra something? Oh, it's going to be winter. Nobody told the warehouse, right? So you get a lot of those things. You get these great ideas, right? But there's always something, right? Or, sometimes when you join the military, you come fresh out of basic training, or your first duty, you're MOS qualified, AFSC qualified for your Air Force guys, right? You come into your first duty station, right? You're all gung-ho, and usually there's somebody, hey, buddy, hey, slow down. Let me tell you how it's done here. Let me tell you how things are done, right? All of a sudden you bust it, right? You go to the Petty Officer Academy, the NCO Academy, right? You're all gung-ho. You come back, and things are like the way reality is, right? Reality is. And then sometimes in organizations, you get this kind of stuff, right? Oh, it's his fault, her fault, their fault, not me, right? And it always happens. Now, if you have an atmosphere like this, and all of a sudden you have been assigned to be the recruiter, there's some issues, right? There's some issues, right? And sometimes employee miscommunication is the wall that divides, right? it's the wall that divides. There's always gotta be something, because the right hand does not talk to the left hand, right? So you got your message over here, there's a barrier, and that barrier could be anything, and then there's the understanding on the other side. A barrier could be lack of funds, it could be an idiot boss. Remember, you never quit a job, you always quit a boss, right? That's the way it is, right? So we're setting it up, right? So the next slide, I thought it was funny because it's dealing with the military, and all of us are military, right? But it's sort of like this, right? I know, if you look at it in your computer, right? So this is how the customer explained it. One little swing with three little things, right?
Mm-hmm.
How the project leader understood it, how the engineer designed it, how the programmer wrote it, how the sales executive wanted it, how the project was documented, what the operations installed, what the customer was billed, right? How the help desk supported it, and then what the customer really needed was just the thing on the side, right? That happens all the time, right? It happens all the time, right? So all of a sudden now you're in recruiting, right? You don't know what the heck to recruit for, right? You don't understand what's going on, you don't know the concepts, right? You had individuals that go in there and say, hey, I have an idea. We should start this new computer system. Right? There's a new program, I was looking at it, and it's fantastic. It would save our lives. But then the J6 comes up and says, oh, wait a minute. Do we have to upgrade the computers? Do we have to upgrade the memories? And then HR is going to say, oh, wait a minute. Do they need additional training? You know, I don't know. I don't have the money for that, right? And then all of a sudden, you know, hey, you got to recruit for these people, right? To do what's going on, right? So that's something that's there. So that's the reality, right? So this class is about recruiting and selection, but we got to set up the reality of what it is, right? So here, we're looking at, we have a nice island here, right? Could be Samoa, could be, right? Now, the question I have is, if you could only bring one book and you're stranded on that island, what book would you take, Julius?
I take the Word of God.
Word of God, okay. Antoine?
Hey, I'm with him in the Bible.
Okay, so we got two Bibles. Gregory, what book would you take with you? You're all by yourself on a deserted island.
Monte Cristo.
Oh, I love that one.
Hey, that's a good one.
Alexander Dumas. How about you, Jason?
How to survive on an island by yourself.
That's it. Volume 2.
Don't say Playboy, man.
And Maui?
That's what I was gonna say, but I don't know how to do. He's got to take it.
Ramon, you there?
You guys got me?
Hold on, I say, what book? What book would you take to that island? You said?
Oh, for me, it would be a book on survival on an island.
Oh, yes, that's, okay. Right, so we got 2 survival books, we got the Count of Monte Cristo and 2 of the Good Word, right? And I'm not gonna give Julius and Antoine extra credit because we're the
That's all it was. That's all it was.
But what I'm saying is, it's 5 different people, right? And you got differences already, right? You have 1 classic, you got 2 survivor, you got the Word, right? Those are important to you, right? So sometimes when you're in organizations, sometimes it's what's important to the individual, right? Because sometimes in organizations you have shareholders, right?
Yeah.
Right? But you also have stakeholders.
Mm-hmm.
Stakeholders like the money. I mean shareholders, right? Like the money, right? The board. What's the profit margin? Blah, blah, blah. So their idea of what you're looking for is different from the stakeholder, right? They're the workers, you know, whatever. It's 2 different things, right? So it's you're looking at it as such a small class, right? And you already got some differences. Why? Because it's perception. Right? It's a perceptive thing, right? So right here, what do you see in this picture? What's the first thing you see?
A tree.
Okay?
You see a monkey.
And you're looking at it. Now, I'm going to go real quick. Here's the next one. Right? How many people saw a tree? Antoine saw a tree. Anybody out there saw a tree? My online people?
A gorilla.
Yeah, I saw.
Yeah, I saw a tree.
I saw a
And then
tree
look
first.
further, I saw the line.
A lion.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right there. Yeah. A
There's a
gorilla.
lion right here.
Yeah, a gorilla on the other side.
Yeah,
Yep.
gorilla. Then you got
A fish?
right here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Right? But what I'm saying is, people see things differently, right?
Right.
Yeah.
People see things differently and quickly, right? we look at this and this and great, right? We have 6 people that are blind, right? And they're all touching an elephant, but look at
Different
what
parts.
they think about, right?
Yeah.
One guy says, oh, this is a snake. This guy says it's this, right?
Yeah.
It's the same elephant, but it's
Different
different, right?
Yep.
Because people are composed differently, right?
Yeah.
If you look under it, they got perceptions, they got assumptions, they got gender, interests, values, whatever. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because you got to realize that people are different, and when you're recruiting, and I'm going to tie it in a little later, right? You got to remember that people are that way. So when you recruit, you gotta be cognizant of these things as well,
Yeah.
Right.
right? When you're recruiting, right?
That's like
So,
Curry though.
because what happens is, and this is one of my little favorite things, right? In the bottom you see data, right? The bottom is data. And then on the top, all the way it says, take action, right?
Right.
So people give you something, if somebody makes a decision, right?
Right.
You never see the middle part, right? That's the reflexive route, right?
Right.
You don't know how the person selected the data, what meaning they added, what assumptions they made, what conclusions they drew, what beliefs they adopted to come up with that take action.
Yeah, that's
Right?
true.
You don't know that. So, right, that's, all you see is, this is the data, and somebody made a decision,
Yep.
right? So that's something you gotta look at, right? Because that's where the perceptions come, that's where you look at. As recruiters, you gotta look at that as well,
Yeah.
right? You gotta at least be cognizant, right? That people are different,
Yep.
right? And you gotta approach people differently, right? Because why? Organizations are an aggregation of individuals, right? It's a group of people and a system of interacting elements, right? How many people here, like Thanksgiving's coming up, right?
Yep.
I knew when I was coming in Thanksgiving, and my aunts were talking, they were always going like, oh my God, what is your uncle gonna bring this time? Who is she, who is he bringing here? And blah, 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 and shwee, and blah, 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 right? So families are dysfunctional,
Yes.
right? So what makes you think that the workforce ain't dysfunctional,
Right.
right? There's gotta be some dysfunction, right, in the kind of thing. So we always gotta remember that all organizations are a group of people and a system of interacting elements, right? And sometimes people within an organization don't talk to each other,
Yeah.
right? So you're gonna look at this, right? You have in an organization, you're looking at gender, and that's a little old, right? They say here, right now, there's 5 generations in the workforce right now. 5 generations, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot of differences,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
There's religious differences, right?
Most definitely.
There's languages, there's different laws, there's different tech, right?
Yep.
And if you look at it in stuff, right? And there's different values, right? How many people in organizations, they have like, they come out and they have these beautiful websites with, this is the vision and the values and the code of conduct for my corporation,
Yeah.
right? And you have it, right?
Mhm.
But everybody knows that there's always a underground code of conduct
Yep.
in every organization.
Yep.
And that's the one that really, doesn't matter what the headquarters said, you have that underground, and there's always gonna be differences, right?
Right.
So that's why sometimes you're talking on the right, and it makes perfect sense to you, but the person on the left, that's what they're understanding, okay? And then, now they want you guys to go and recruit, right? And to go. So I'm gonna go over some, well, you know what? Let's take a 15-minute break.
Okay.
You wanna take a break or you wanna leave earlier?
Leave
Oh,
out.
we go right through.
We'll go right, I got the right through it. Okay, we'll go right through it then. All right, so I'm gonna go over some stats because I like stats and we're graduate students, right?
Right.
All right, so just to give you an idea of what's happening in the organization. So you have perceptions already, we saw some of that, right? We have differences in people, we gotta know that. Aggregate of people in elements of interaction with each other. So I'm gonna read these because they're kind of small and I apologize, but you can follow.
Go for it.
But right here they say that 51% of the workers are looking to leave their current job.
That's true.
51%.
I am.
Only 13% of the employees are engaged worldwide, right? But 59% of employees say they can grow and develop at their organization. Only 59 right? 42% of the employees feel that their leadership does not contribute to a positive company culture,
That's true.
right? 70% of the employees would like to spend more time with their managers. 60% of employees eat alone at their desks working.
I do.
I do.
Yeah.
I'm guilty.
Yeah, me too.
80% of employees would work more hours to work for a more empathetic leader.
That's true.
Right? And I'm going to go. 60% of the workers would like work praised more frequently.
Exactly.
So you're looking at 51% of your workforce wants to pop smoke.
Yep.
Right? Okay, that's not a good thing. So the next one is reasons why employee leaves an organization, right? Monetary factors,
Yes.
increase in favoritism,
Yes.
right? Nothing, here's a good quote for you, nothing kills a good worker faster than watching you tolerate a bad one.
Yep.
Okay? Right, there you go, right? Lack of appreciation, a lot of people like, right? Lack of a challenge in the job. The job or workplace was not as expected. Right? Right, so that's something, just put that in the back of your mind, right? Here's another one, just want it real quick. Employee attrition reasons, right? Low pay, demotivated employees, poor working conditions, termination of inefficient employees. That doesn't happen very often. Because I don't know if you ever, I used to work at a hospital here in Kapiolani, Women and Children. If they had a union, it took an act of God to even give them a reprimand.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, you could catch them sleeping in somewhere. Did you give them a verbal? You know, whatever. You know? So we're looking at some of these reasons, right? You see all these people saying they don't want to do a job. So then this statistic here says that these are the areas in which they have the highest turnover rates, right? Marketing,
Yes.
right?
Research.
Research, media and comms, support, and human resources, right? That's a big percentage because every single organization I've seen has all of those, right? You know, support, that would be like mission support, or media and comms, I'm gonna go IT, social media, website, whatever, right? And if you add all those together, and that's why I don't teach math, right? And I'm bad at it. Right, you're looking at 60 something, that's a lot of percentage.
It is.
Right? That's a lot of percentage. And we're in the 21st century, and you know, when you talking about media, comms and stuff like that, and with things with computers, that's a high percentage of people turning over, right?
Yeah.
You're a recruiter, now you're sad. I brought you to a job, and this is the reality of it. You're like, oh my God, I'm getting set up for failure, right? Here's another top reasons again. Negative relationship with management, shocker, right? Lack of trust in the organization.
Oh, that's a big one. That's a big one.
Okay, well, that's a biggie, right?
Yes.
Little room for growth, job doesn't match the description.
Yep.
And no incentives except at the managerial level, right? Let me tell you, I like that one right there because it struck a nerve, right? It really did, right? Lack of trust in an organization,
Yes.
right? Without trust, in fact, there's a book by a guy named Peter Lencioni, and he wrote a book called 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, right? The biggest one was the trust. If you don't trust somebody, right, it might as well, there ain't nothing you can do about it, right?
Exactly.
It's trust, right? And if you, right, and they also said, and I had a friend of mine, said that if you really, 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 really trust somebody, there's only 2 outcomes, right? If you really, really trust somebody, there's only 2 outcomes, right? You make a friend for life, or you learn a lesson for life, okay? So trust is the thing. And now, if you're going into an organization, and these are the top 5, how do you think you're going to approach recruiting? Right? You got a high turnover, they don't trust, right? The job doesn't match the description, little room for growth, negative relationship with management, you're already going into disadvantage, right?
Right.
And these are statistics that are on the grid. I'm not making these up.
Oh, that's real.
Right?
That's real.
It's real, right? So I'm just setting the environment Because a lot of times the book goes, hey, let's make this staffing model and blah, 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 but it's the reality of it, right?
Right.
Okay? Here, if you want to deal with millennials, because they're there now, right? 7% of all millennials are unemployed, 10% are employed part-time, giving the millennials the highest rates of both unemployment and underemployment. Right? You look at 85% millennials browse the internet on their smartphones rather than desktop. 38%, but here's it, 38% of the workforce is made up of millennials. Right? And I can't say nothing. I think do we have any millennials here?
Nope.
Oh, I feel good now. I had one last thing. Right? And we're going to jump again. Here's one. 68% of employees leave due to controllable factors.
You do?
That is an astounding statistic, right? They're totally controllable. You could have rectified it if you wanted to, right? It was nothing crazy. It wasn't like, oh, I left because the factory is closing, and no. These are totally controllable. 37% of the employees leave because of their immediate managers, right? Remember, you never quit a job, you quit a boss. 61% of managers stated that they need coaching in areas of appraisal, promotion, and salary-related communication. They're not even trained, right? And now I'm on Julius and Antoine to be the recruiting for this organization, right? And you know what you got? Yeah, right? And only 3 out of 10 candidates do not join the company in spite of their accepting the offer, right? So that's something that's there. So now you're kind of perplexing, right? You're going like, oh man, Dr. Mo gave me this job and this company like it sucks, but I need a job because times are rough. So you start brainstorming, right? And what does the military always teach you to do? You gotta have a meeting, right? Gotta have a meeting. God forbid you don't have a meeting, right? So all of a sudden we're coming up and 220 is rolling in and it's uploading and stuff like that. So your meetings are gonna look like this, right? That's what a meeting's gonna look like. That's what my class looks like, right? So sometimes people say, okay, I'm giving this class and it's okay to telework, but sometimes it's because you guys worked together before and you create a relationship, right? Like students, right? Relationship. So if you're right in this class, you guys know each other. Hey, what's up? How you doing? Oh man, how you know, whatever, right? So if you go telework and the thing, you still, when you look at each other, hey, what's up, man? And even the thing. But imagine the student that doesn't know anybody and gets hired immediately, and they don't know anybody, and everybody's talking to each other. Right? And you got to, now you're the recruiter, you got to figure out what's going on. And nowadays, this is the thing, right?
Yep.
That's the way everything is done.
The white told.
Right? Everything is an email and stuff like that. Right. But sometimes people like meetings, the old, I'm a baby boomer, right? Sometimes I like meetings, and a lot of times, meetings are not the thing because you have a meeting to set up a meeting, to talk about a meeting, and then nothing's really rectified. But you know, so there's the scenario that I was looking at, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about, you know, the recruitment and everything that goes with it. And the book covers almost all that stuff. Talent, internal, external. Sometimes it's bad when you do external because you're like, man, I was up for promotion. They brought somebody else out of this company, don't even know about it. And I can't believe that I got hijacked. And they got somebody else, and I've given 20 years for this corporation, and they gave something over there, right?
I see it every day.
And you know, and people that have worked here before, or people that have worked in like the GS or OPM, you know, sometimes you had somebody retire on Friday, and they did the same job as a civilian on Monday.
Yep.
Right? And it was like, whoa, what happened, man? I was here. Why wasn't I given this, right? So I'm going to tell you, and I ain't bragging, but I was a good recruiter. I was a master recruiter. I was like the number one and everything else, but it was the hardest damn job I ever had. It was crazy. I used to work 3 weekends or 4 weekends a month.
What?
Right? No, because you know why? Because you have to work when people don't work, because you have to put a table in Ala Moana to recruit, and you got to set up this table, and you have this thing, and you know, there's a parade, and then we were military, right? Oh, you know, the recruiters are good because we need over there, and you got to do a 21 gun salute, and I did all kind of stuff, right? Especially when you're recruiting in the other area, because you're the closest thing to the military, right? You're in the neighborhood, and you know what I've been talking about, because if you're in Samoa, you know, it's very family, right? Oh, yeah. Oh, cousin over there, he over in the military, maybe he can do a flag folding, right? And you can't say no, right? Because the recruiter's bread and butter is word of mouth in town,
Yeah.
right? Kind of thing. But it's difficult, right? It's difficult. And I thought this was funny, right? Who said recruiting was stressful? I'm 27 and I feel great, right? Sometimes that's there, right? So one of the things that I learned in the military, and maybe Julius can remember too, that for us at least, there were 3 tenets to the recruiting selection process, right? Right? It's for me it was recruiting is one, but the other one was attrition management, and the other was retention, right? Because it's going to happen that some recruiters think this is the only thing I'm going to do. I don't care what happens when they're over there in the thing, right? But it's retention, right? Some people don't do attrition management. A lot of people are leaving, and the statistic I wanted you to remember was that one was 68%, right? They're controllable.
Right.
Well, if it's controllable, then retention shouldn't be an issue,
Exactly.
right? No, but it's not controllable. So we used to say in the recruiting force, right? We had 7 dogs and they're going after 1 bone.
Give me a bone.
Right? So, this could be a candidate, a bone.
Yeah.
And you have 8 different corporations trying to get the same person. Right? And you're sitting there going like, man, my corporation, all these people don't trust the organization and, they don't trust the managers and blah, blah, blah. How am I going to do this? Because it's just going to be crazy, right? So the recruiting cycle is, we have these kind of things. It's self-explanatory. You prepare it, you sort, screening, selecting, onboarding. Nothing we haven't seen, right? Yeah, all of you've gotten a job. OPM does all this stuff, right? They do a job description. Sometimes they'll come up to you and say, hey, Antoine, Freddie McGillicuddy's he retiring tomorrow, next week, and we need a replacement. So I'm looking for this, and they go, okay, come to human resources. We look at it, and we got to reword this, and I don't know. Are they going to give a bonus? Not bonus? Are they giving relocation? Not relocation? I'm going to pay for my move, and they got to pay for my move. And then they're going to go, oh, wait a minute, human resources is going to pick it. And you go, no, I should be the picker. Because I know what I want, right? Oh, you gotta be careful, you can't ask her these questions, there's all this stuff that comes down there, so you have this cycle.
That's
right?
true.
And sometimes people just leave because they just said right there, 59%, they wanna
Wanna leave job anyway,
They
yeah.
wanna pop smoke, right?
That's me.
So then sometimes you end up doing this. You have an active path to recruit and a passive, right? Sometimes you just wanna jump from talent to candidate, right? And sometimes they don't let you put the right person in the right bus, but in the right seat. Because they just got to hire somebody because you know what? I got a GS13 position, and if I don't hire it, Paycom's going to take it.
Yeah.
And they're going to put it in the J5.
Yeah.
Right? So they hurry up and want to pick somebody. Right? But the thing about it is, a lot of people know that recruiting, it's critical. Right? Here's a little thing. They say that keeping up with rapid changing hiring needs, 65%. They say that's a criticality. So Antoine, you got a job. 65% say they got to do that. Keep it up with recruiting technology, 52%. Showing business impact, 43%. Right? They don't give you no money for it, but right? Most companies today don't track the most beautiful metrics, right?
Yep.
Quality of the hire should be very critical, right? 88%, but only 48% look at it. Right? Do you know how much, if I train you as a computer person, and you are A+, security, what's that, CISP, right? Qualified. And all of a sudden, you have whatever with the boss, and you quit on me, right?
All that money you wasted.
How much money did I lose?
Yep.
Right? Right? Sourcing channel effectiveness. Only 47% are tracking time of hire. Very small amount, right? So right now, the recruiting retention is good. But, look at this funny. Demand for recruiting is on the rise. Increased 63% in 2016.
Yeah.
Right? So, it doesn't look like, it's funny because it's like, it's so critical, it's on the increase, but my organization sucks. Okay? So how am I gonna do this, right? So we'll jump into the recruiting and selection, right? In the process of, what is it? It's the process of sourcing qualified candidates for open jobs. Find advice, resources, you guys can read, right? Now, is there a difference between recruiting and selection? What do you think? What do you think, Julius?
Yes,
There's a difference?
I believe so.
Why? Give me some.
Recruiting is a process, you build a relationship, and then just because there's a qualified candidate, doesn't mean that he or she will be the one to be selected.
That's right, you guys heard that,
Yes, sir.
right? There is a difference because,
Yeah.
yeah, right, recruiting and selection, one of them is you're finding the pools and stuff like that, but somebody's gonna select them, right?
Right.
And sometimes, that can be difficult, so, this is what it is, right? But you gotta make a connection to it somehow, right? There's gotta be a connection.
Right.
And sometimes, there isn't a connection. That's why there's a big percentage of people leaving, because the job wasn't what they were looking for. It was not what Antoine was talking to me every day, calling me, following up, and all of a sudden promising me all this, and then all of a sudden HR says, no, we can't do that. Oh, Antoine's a liar. Right? Then he can't recruit anybody anymore because you're a liar.
My
Right?
name
It
bad in
happens
the
all the
streets.
time. So recruitment, you see that big stack? Those are the people, but only that percentage get kind of selected, right?
Right.
So recruitment, active, you guys can read it, right?
Right.
Many hurdles have to be crossed for selection. Nothing that you guys are not knowing, right? Again, differences, right? So one person, remember, now you're looking at several hurdles, right? Different people. I remember one time I applied for this job at Capilani Women and Children. And I had 10 interviews, right? And it was, I couldn't believe it. I had 10 interviews. I had an interview with the human resource, I got offered, but then I couldn't get the official letter, right? Offer letter, because it was a hospital, right? So I had to meet with the dude that was the anesthesia head, and he would talk to me. Then the person surgery, they would talk to me. Then the finance, they would talk to me. That every single individual talk to me, and then you'd be surprised. Like, man, that's kind of redundant, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy. But 10 people. So I had to set up 10 different jobs, 10 different times
Right.
to talk. And then you have to be at their disposal, right? Because they're medical people. I'm just an applicant,
Right.
I hope you got a job.
to get a job. But,
Did you get a job?
yeah, I did get the job, but I needed the job, but it was crazy,
That's great.
right?
Yeah.
So, so here we are. Here's the thing, right? You got a job seeker, right? You got some employment services, it could be the military, the government, so whatever, right? You got the employers, successful hiring, right? It's kind of, the book puts it in this capacity, right? Nice and straightforward. Look how beautiful that thing is, right?
That ain't real.
Now, hiring the best is the most important task in jobs, right? Acquiring the talent, right talent is the most important key to growth. Hiring was and still is the most important thing we do. Mark Benioff. So obviously these people think it's very important, but why are 68% of the people pop the smoke?
Exactly.
Right? Why is it? It's not the recruiter's fault, it's the recruiter's fault. They gave you the thing.
Right.
They're increasing it 63%. Right? I remember we were recruiting one time, and they were coming, and things were kind of slow. It was during the war, right? And they would come up, and they brought this individual to kind of motivate us, right? And I think it's Stephen Covey, or it could be Drucker, I forgot which one, but he said, motivation comes from within, right? So you bring somebody else out there, and he was talking about selling appliances, right? I do sales, and I sell this, and we get the commission, and blah, 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 and he's trying to teach us all this stuff, right? I'm saying, like, okay, you're selling a refrigerator, brother. I am, what I'm selling, right, is a great opportunity on the military, but your kid that's 17 could go to war,
Yeah.
right? So there's a difference between death and a refrigerator, right? But, like all organizations, right, do they do it to train you, or do they do it to cover their butt,
Cover that butt.
right? I remember when I first joined the Corps in '84, they came out with, we used to get paid with checks,
Yeah.
right? And then they came to direct deposit,
Mhm.
right? And they made us go to direct deposit, but nobody knew about budgeting, right? So we had a lot of bounce checks, right? A lot of bounce checks. So the Marine Corps came up and we used to have MCI, Marine Corps Correspondence Courses, right? And they made us take mandatory a course on personal finance, right? Now, did they do that to make the Marine a better steward of their resources? Or did they do that to cover their butt,
Cover that butt.
right? Sometimes you gotta see what it was,
Yeah.
because nobody knew what the heck a check was, right? And how things were going. So, the question is, why is recruiting important to a company? Right? Steve Jobs said is
They need it. It says
number
the
one,
best.
and said it Mark, right? So why do you think, Antoine, why do you think recruiting is important to a company?
Because if you don't have if you don't recruit, you don't have people to fill slots for those jobs, and they can't make. The bottom line is they can't make money if you don't recruit for those jobs and fill them seats.
That's right. How about you, Jason? Why is recruiting important to a company?
I turn my mic back on here. Well, of course, you gotta get the right people for the right job, right?
Yeah,
It's expensive,
yeah,
but you gotta get the right people.
right? And you gotta get the right people in the right bus, in the right seat.
Yeah.
I added extra. You gotta put them in the right seat, right? So here, we're looking at the importance of effective recruitment, right? In fact, it helps gain new sustainable members, like you said, right? It attracts the best candidates.
Mhm.
Wrong person selected will mean suffering of administrative costs and recurring activities, right? And the best example I can give of that was in the education world, they had a big attrition in low socioeconomic schools, like schools in the South Bronx, Detroit, right? They have all these programs like we'll pay for your college and, what's that, boots to books or books to whatever, teachers or whatever. The other one was something America, Teach America, whatever, right? And they get all these people, right? And usually, statistically speaking, a lot of the teachers are usually Anglo, right? White individuals, usually female, right? That's statistics. I'm not making this up, right? I'm not being racist or profiling, right? But they put them in the South Bronx. That's the first door, because if I'm going to pay for your school, I'm going to put you wherever I feel like putting you.
Right.
Right? So what happens is, all of a sudden, they go their first semester, they got to go through a metal detector, to go to, middle school, and blah, blah, blah. I can guarantee you, by the first 2 weeks, they already have a resume out applying to some other places, right?
Yeah.
So they have an extremely high attrition rate, right? So what happens is, they have to, all of a sudden, now we have this individual, it took an X amount of time to put him in, or her in, they left, I gotta get a substitute, now I have to start the process all over again, and the money that they had earmarked for the computer lab now has to get diverted because they need to do it. And this is a constant cycle, right? About how, when you did the wrong person, it's gonna cost you money, right? And that's something that's there. I'm gonna jump over this slide here. So what happens is, in recruiting, that's what happens,
Yeah.
right? They have a bucket of water and they expect the recruiters to go in there and keep on filling in the bucket, right? But there's so many holes, right? And those holes could be anything from, again, bad
practice.
management,
Yep.
lack of trust in the organization, the structure's not good.
enough.
Those are a lot of things. So as a recruiter, you have a lot of challenges, right? And I'll read it here because I can't see it, right? Finding qualified, experienced hires, like I said, right? You got one bone, 7 dogs after,
Mhm.
right? Identifying full-time talent with the right skills, right? Finding quality entry-level hires, ineffective recruiting technology, constructing appealing job offers, onboarding employees in a timely fashion, right? What candidates want? They want salary, 67%.
Exactly.
Benefits, 63. And usually, when you go for the benefits, usually that individual is older,
Yeah.
right? Because you start looking at, hey, what are the bennies, right? What kind of finance? I got the kids looking here, whatever, right? 59% location, commute time, employee review, right? Those are some of the challenges that you have as recruiters, right? Because you are recruiting for Wayne and Baptist, I'm gonna make it up, right? But you know, Chaminade's recruiting, University of Phoenix is recruiting, right? HBU is recruiting, UH is recruiting. What is it that you have that's different, right? What is it that you have? And you gotta look at what the organization is looking at. A lot of people always look for human resources because right there at the top, recruiting is part of their job. And I thought it was the funniest thing with this statistic coming up is that 1 in 3 recruiting leaders came from a role outside our HR. Now you got people that are in charge of recruiting that they're out of their HR. They don't know what the heck they're talking about,
That's true.
right? Well, they select somebody, and it's not really the right fit.
They
So,
said-
so as a recruiter, you're looking like this, right? You got so many things coming around you. You're trying to get things that are going, and sometimes the organization doesn't help you, right? So we're looking at what contributes to a negative interview, right? Then you have negative interviews, right? That could be horrible, right? You did so hard in that selection process, but it's a terrible interview. And you have this guy, oh man, I know this person, he's gonna go, man, he's good, and blah, blah, blah. Now in the military, you are ordered to put in 2 bodies a month, right?
That's crazy.
Right? And here's a funny thing, and they'll be very specific about it. Right? You gotta get what they call a Cat 3 Alpha, right? As that score gotta be over 50, high school diploma graduate, female. Oh, if it's minority, it's even better, because you can feel like, so you could put in 15 people that month, and if those 15 people did not fulfill that qualification, you didn't make mission.
What?
Yeah, you didn't make mission, right? So a lot of times it ain't even in your hands, right? Because at least in the military, you go to the MEPS, there's so many unknowns, for physical stuff like that. But in the jobs, it's the same way. If you're doing for an organization, there's a lot of unknowns, right? And you can see a lot of it is the negative interviewing, right? So if you have somebody in there and they think like me when they said I had 10 interviews, man, but I had 3 kids I had to support, you have other things that you're looking at, but, and here's some other things like benefits of a positive candidate experience. They're more likely, if they have a good one, they're gonna say, hey, I like it, I'm gonna tell a friend, they're positive.
Word 'em up.
There's nothing here that's just shocking.
Right.
If somebody's good with you and positive, and what we used to say in the street, straight up,
Yep.
right? It's gonna be a positive thing, right? Branding is another thing, right? Sometimes in the Marine Corps, they say, well, we don't advertise that much because our uniform is the advertising. Now you get all cocky, whatever, and that's what got me, right? The uniform looked good. But the bottom line is, there's a lot of factors that you're up against,
Right.
okay? And remember that it takes 2 to 3 months to hire new employees. And the crazy stat on the right is that 10 days, that's all you got, is 10 days until the top candidates are gone from the market. Okay? So that states, that's something that
That's
you're
that one
up
bone eight.
against. Okay? And then if you look at it, in this world, we have resumes, right? Because in the military, you don't have resumes, right? You just gotta be this age, but you have resumes, right? So you figure like, hey, I got these resumes because, remember, you're the one that's siphoning out, and they're giving to the selection, but you're the one that's siphoning it out.
Right.
No qualified, no, they didn't ask for this, or whatever. So this is the percentage of time the average resume spends in each status, right? If you applied, 15%, screening 23%, hiring manager review 37%, interviewing another 23%, and then your hire is 2%, right? So when you look at it, there's a big chunk that's not in your world, right? There's a big chunk that's not in your world. So in a lot of organizations, and I know that if, and I'm gonna use the jar heads because that's, right, you know, they always personify the military with something, right? If I go to Antoine, right? If they say somebody got drunk in Waikiki, right, and beat up somebody, a tourist, I'm gonna just say, right? Just say, right, the tourist, right? The newspaper's gonna say a sailor stationed at Pearl Harbor beat up this person. They don't say Freddie McGillicuddy beat up this person. No, a sailor, right?
Yep.
Right? So sometimes you are the poster of that organization, right? And that's one of the things they're looking at, because people that want to go places, right? Why is there competition for schools, right? With the U.S. News and Report of the college. You know, Harvard came out #1. That's branded, right? People want to go to Harvard. You don't see Harvard advertising on TV. Come to Harvard. You know, no, you know what? They got their own thing, right?
Word of mouth.
You know, we don't have $1 million commercial at the Super Bowl to join the Marine Corps and stuff. That's, you know, 60% of our budgeting, you know, budget. You know, for the entire year, for the entire Marine Corps. And you wonder why you only get pencils, right, to recruit, right? So, you know, you're looking at it, but the point is, the next one is, always be recruiting. It takes an average of 27 working days to acquire one, right? We just look at it. So everybody's a recruiter, right? Everybody's looking at it. So what we're looking at is here, I just wanted to set up the reality. Has anybody seen that movie, Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield?
Yep.
Okay. I remember they're in a class.
Yes.
Yeah, you saw that, right? Remember they're in a class and they're talking about making widgets, and he's like, no, why were you renting stuff? You know, no, you gotta, you know, bribe the Teamsters and blah blah blah. And he was like, what fantasy world you're in and whatever, right? Right? And the guy was all theory. Okay. So the thing about it is that what I wanted to do in this class was to set up that foundation and say, okay, look, that's the reality of organization. I had a lot of heads go up and down because they, oh yeah, been there, done it, got t-shirts, right? Because that's it. So now you're looking at all these models, you're gonna read the book, right? You're looking at stuff. You know, here's an example, right? My daughter is a nurse, RN nurse, graduated from HPU. They have a nursing shortage in Hawaii.
Yes.
She couldn't get one damn job.
What?
Because they had no experience, right? She's an entry level, right? No experience at all. They wouldn't even give her a CNA job, you know, a certified nurse assistant, which wasn't that, right? So she had to go to California, right, to get a job, entry level. And once she had 2 years experience, she had whatever she wanted in Hawaii, right? Whatever job she wanted, they would, oh my God, come over here. You know, this is the best thing. So as recruiters, you know, what do you do, right? Because they're going to tell you, hey, brother, you know, we need nurses, we need IT people, right? What are you doing for us, right? Because it's easy for them to blame you.
Yeah.
Human resources ain't going to say, well, I can't select anybody because Julius didn't give me anybody. He's not doing his job. Right? Now I remember one time, somebody got a hot mic up there. Yeah. I remember one time, I remember in February of 2004, right? I tested 27 people in the month of February, and nobody passed the ASVAB.
What?
Right? Nobody. The valedictorian scored a 12. Okay? Right? And it was my fault that I didn't put 2 people in that month, right? They don't look that I tested 27 people. I'm not looking hard enough. Right? And now you're gonna look, and when you were looking at something in the book, later on, they talk about ethics, right? I remember, here's an example. I think it was in Colorado, this high school group had a project in journalism, right? And they went to a recruiter, and one of the kids had a little camera, and the other had a little microphone or something, right? And they went in there posing as applicants. And before that, the Army was saying, I don't care what you do, you better put some people in boots, right? You remember those things? Put them in boots. In the Marine Corps, they had an enforcer that came out, why the hell, and your things fly off your desk, they try to get right. So, they're saying like, you better not break the regulations, but I want to hear it creaking, right there. So what happened was, they went in there and one of the kids goes, well, I don't have a high school diploma, right? The recruiter said, don't worry about it. We can get one for you on the internet, because you get those transcripts and this thing, right? And we got to go into this link and blah, blah, blah. The other kid said something about, I had me a doobie the other day or something like that. Recruiter said, don't worry, we go to GNC and we'll do that, that wash. I forgot what it's called. You know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. So they brought that back to the high school teacher in journalism, right? He thought it was so cool that he gave it to the news. And the news played it.
No.
Right? All of a sudden, the Army's on the spot, and guess what? That recruiter was rogue, did not follow policy. That person is to blame. That is not what we are here for. We have our code of ethics, code of values, right? That person is, it's bad, right? And then everybody had to take 2 days off of recruiting, right? To take an ethics class and some other thing to show that that's what they did, right? They made that person the sacrificial lamb.
Damn.
Right? I mean, let me tell you something. It was not good, right? But the week before, they were threatening him, right, for not doing enough to do the jobs and stuff. So you'll see that in ethics later on in the thing, right? So you got a lot of things that comes in between shareholders and stakeholders.
Yeah.
Two different looks, right? That we're looking at doing. So, with that said, I got my little light here. So, are we green, red, or green is good, yellow's red is I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Green.
Are we green? Are we green on the online there, people? We're green, right?
Good.
Yeah, right, because that's what I wanted to do, because we ain't playing no games here. That's the reality of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's the reality of the recruiting selection, all right?
Yeah.
So I want you to be cognizant. Later on, we'll talk a little bit about personnel. You gotta know your audience, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because Julius recruited in Samoa, I recruited in Puerto Rico, right? Right? Both for the U.S. military, but I guarantee you, his tactic maybe wouldn't work in Puerto Rico and mine wouldn't work in Samoa.
Wow.
Right? How I used to use stuff in North Dakota ain't gonna happen in Florida. If I'm recruiting in Miami, it behooves me to be bilingual. Right?
Right.
Okay? And stuff like that, right? You gotta know your audience, right?
Right.
You gotta look at education level, right?
Yeah.
Okay? You wanna explain something to somebody, because remember, communication isn't about communication. Communication is about comprehension. If the person does not comprehend, then your communication is gone, right? Socrates said, understanding the question is half the answer. Okay?
Yep.
So, with that said, so I get questions, comments. Comments on the airwaves. All right, are we dressed right? According to my book here, Gregory he's in the batter's box. Okay? Who wants to do the following week? Don't all raise your hand at the same time.
HR
Anybody? Gregory's quiet. Huh? He could be quiet because he's already on. Who's gonna do HR planning? Anybody? Jason?
I got it, Dr. Mo.
Which one is that one?
I was actually looking to do retention, if everybody's cool with that.
Which one? Who's gonna do it? Wait, who said HR planning? I heard
I
somebody.
think there's something wrong with Mallory's audio. He sounds like an alien.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I thought, yeah.
And my audio is
Yeah, it's on. But anyway, did Maui say he was gonna do HR planning?
Yes.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either, all right. Now, who,
We can't hear Mallory.
okay,
Have to get a visual on him.
okay, let's see. So, does anybody wanna do recruitment?
Legal issues and recruitment. I do it.
Okay, Antoine is doing recruitment. Who's the one that said Jason? Did he, which one?
Yeah,
Which one?
that's a retention, if, nobody has a problem with that.
Which one? I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
Retention?
Retention? Oh, the last one? Okay, Jason. All right,
I'll do the next one, legal issues.
legal issues is gonna be Brother Julius.
I'll do that one.
So am I gonna assume that, well, Ramon's gotta either do, he's gotta do HR planning or assessment methods. You know what, I'll text Ramon. All right,
This mic, I think.
I know, yeah,
No,
that's okay,
I can't hear you at all. It just sounds like
yeah,
it's somebody,
Yeah.
an alien eating on you.
yeah. I think he got eaten by an alien. Yeah. So anyway, somebody's gotta do, who wants to do a double? Somebody's gotta do a double.
Which one is that one? Methods?
I got it, Dr. Mo.
Which one is that one? Was that Ramon?
Yes.
Are you wanna do HR planning or assessment methods?
HR planning.
Got you. And what I do is, I'll re-engage on week 5 before the Thanksgiving.
There you go.
And that way you guys can have it. So, next one, are we on target?
Yes, sir.
Are we dressed right?
Yes, sir.
All right, is there anything, are we good? So I like having fun in class.
Hey, I like
Right?
fun.
And next week we're gonna have some fun. So Gregory, I know you're on deck, for the staffing. He said he's gonna put it in on Tuesday. Gregory, if for some issue that you cannot get it, let me know immediately. It might be, I am not the brainiac, the discussion board. I will mess up. I was infantry. That should say it all, okay? With that said, God bless everybody. I'll see you next week.
All right.
Yeah.